TipTut.
Hi guys, and welcome back to TipTut. Now, I've been using my Surface Pro 4 for a good couple of weeks now, and I wanted to just do an honest review now that I've gotten to grips with it a bit more. And I've got to say, I'm really enjoying using it, barring a few really quite serious issues, which, if you're an artist like me, might affect you. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of these before you buy into something like I did, without realizing that there's a few crippling things that really make the Surface not unusable, but certainly difficult. So let's jump right in. I went for the i5 256GB, 8GB of RAM version of the computer. It runs full Windows 10 desktop operating system with a handy switch to tablet mode that makes it more touch friendly for when you don't want to use the keyboard. Honestly, this is the biggest advantage that the Surface has over the iPad Pro. You can run full desktop software such as Adobe Creative Cloud or Creative Suite and things like Manga Studio with no limitations. And honestly, I found myself pretty impressed with the Surface, even if Phoebe wasn't. Unless you're doing lots of 3D work or intensive After Effects, which I still prefer using my desktop for, then I don't see the need to upgrade to the i7 model. But for artists, I'd suggest this version, the i5 8GB of RAM, as the minimum. Hardware-wise, there's plenty going on. You get a gorgeous 12.3-inch touchscreen at a resolution of 2736 by 1824. The screen isn't 16:9, but is instead a 3:2 ratio, closer to a pad of paper, which is really useful when it comes to drawing. The battery life is pretty close to advertised. When I'm animating, I usually get about 7 to 8 hours of use per session. On one side of the device, there's a mini display port for a HDMI cable with adapter, there's one USB 3.0, which is better than none, and a unique charging port for the included cable, which itself also has a USB port to charge your phone, very handy. On the other side, there's just a standard 3.5mm headphone jack and a handy magnet to snap your pen onto the tablet, which is actually pretty strong. There's also a vent system that runs around 50% of the tablet's width to help keep it cool. The kickstand extends to a very impressive degree, about 160 degrees, meaning you can lay the tablet almost flat. You can't put all of your weight on it when drawing, but it definitely doesn't feel flimsy. The hinges seem sturdy and well made as far as my amateur opinion can discern, and hidden under the kickstand is a handy micro SD slot, so you can expand your storage by up to 128GB. Really useful, and something I didn't know about when purchasing. The new type cover, sold separately, attaches using a nifty magnet, which is really strong and can snap in both ways, so you can use the cover as a cover when in tablet mode without risking damage to your keys. The keys light up too for nighttime use, which is really handy. Now, speaking of damage, the very first thing I did was install a screen protector. I opted for a third-party matte finish protector, which makes the screen feel a bit rougher, like paper, and gives you a little bit of friction when drawing, which, coupled with the softer spare nibs I also bought, makes drawing on the tablet feel really nice. If you've ever drawn on a Cintiq, it feels just like that. The only thing I regret is not having a skin or decal for the back of the Surface, as I didn't want a case because it would make it very bulky, but the chrome finish on the back scratches very easily. I did this sucker 5 minutes after unpacking it and came very close to scratching the webcam, which by the way has 8 megapixels on the rear and 5 megapixels on the front camera, both very good quality. After a couple of weeks, the type cover developed a little bit of wobble on the fabric. I'm not sure if that's environmental or not though. And I also noticed the pen developed a little bit of discoloration on the clip. Again, not sure if that's environmental or manufactural. Speaking of the pen, it comes included with the Surface, which is another benefit over the iPad Pro, and this version boasts a side button, which can act as a right click. Furthermore, there's a programmable eraser, which you can also use to launch common apps with a click, double click, or hold down. That's it for the hardware, so let's take a look at the software and the operating system. I found OneNote, which comes pre-installed on the Surface, to be really useful for taking notes at work or quick jots, and honestly I haven't found an alternative on the store that works better. I've got it linked to the long press option on the eraser of the pen, so it boots up at the single press of a button. Most of the Adobe Creative Cloud software works pretty much flawlessly, including pressure sensitivity in Photoshop and Illustrator, things like that. But here's where I ran into a massive problem for me. No matter what drivers I installed, no matter what settings I tweaked, the pen is horrible in Animate CC, formerly known as Flash Professional. There seems to be some kind of lag that causes the brush to glitch out when drawing. I mean, it's impossible to use. Now, Adobe are apparently working on a fix for this, but I've been seeing problems like this on different hardware for years, so who knows. I had to dig out an old copy of Toon Boom Studio just to get work done. Not happy. Apart from that, there's some great apps on the store for artists. I swear by Sketchable now, and it's my go-to sketchbook app. There's also some great comic book readers and ebook readers as well as the standard app versions of websites, which all seem to work pretty well. Some people have been reporting crippling bugs, such as the Surface never waking up from sleep and things like that, but in all honesty, I've never experienced anything that couldn't be fixed with a quick reboot, and most of the legitimate claims to these seem to have been resolved since the anniversary update of Windows 10. The pen uses Windows Ink software to draw, which is really great when it's working with Microsoft's own apps, but tends to get a little bit wobbly on the slower lines, which compared to a Cintiq, I'd say it's not quite as good, but with all the other things that a Surface can do, it definitely makes up for that lack. All in all, I'd say I'm very happy with the Surface, and except for the Animate CC bugs, it really is a perfect machine for me. It's portable, it's powerful, and it runs full desktop software. Would I recommend it to other artists? Absolutely. If they don't use Animate CC to get work done. So that's it. I hope you found this review useful. If you did, great, consider subscribing. If you've got any further questions as well, just pop them in the description below and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So thanks very much, you guys, and I'll see you next time.
Remember to subscribe for more tips, tricks, and tutorials. Thanks for watching.